The United States makes the UN work when it wants it to work. And that is exactly the way it should be, because the only question to the United States is what's in our national interest.
My name is John, and the International Criminal Court is back in session. I literally don't know what else to say. They actually did it. They did the most stupidest thing possible. The most stupidest thing since their big, large-scale, super-duper wow offensive on Zaporozhye. They did it again. They went on the offensive against Russia into Russia itself. Oh, okay. For those who don't know, the RDK, or the RVC, the Russian Volunteer Corps, and the Free Russia Legion, whose leaders, by the way, are banned in Europe due to their neo-Nazi ideologies, these guys had the audacity to go on the offensive, to invade Russia. What were they thinking? Oh my God. And before I decided to make today's video, I made a promise to people that I was going to roast them for this. And today, that time has come. Ukrainians, why in God's name would you support this bullshit at all? I literally don't understand their logic here. Like, what is the point of invading Russia? I bet your excuse is going to be like, oh, we're trying to make Putin look weak. Or, no, we didn't back this offensive into Russia. You're all definitely going to come up with some sort of excuses that it's to make Putin look bad, it's to disrupt the elections, and to also maybe provoke him into doing stupid shit. Seriously. Just tell the truth. You thought, for some reason, that you could take land within Russia itself and make it part of your country. Come on. Come on. It makes, literally, you're supposed to defend your internationally recognized sovereign borders. You're not supposed to go like a full 180 and be a hypocrite about it and start to invade the invaders' borders. Like, seriously, why in God's name do you guys think this would work? And I saw all the videos too. A bunch of vehicles got blown up. You lost some tanks. A lot of your guys died too in this pathetic excuse for a WoW offensive. And you achieved none of your goals. The Russian elections are ongoing, and Vladimir Putin is expected to win in a massive landslide. Now, obviously, the international community is not going to recognize those results because they think it's a dictatorship, but I digress. Seriously, what the hell were you guys thinking? You guys are freaking idiots. Like, why would you invade Russia when you have more to worry about, like in the freaking Donbas? I mean, literally, let me actually give you an old update on the front line, folks. So, in recent times, the Russians, after they took the final suburb of Donetsk, Avdiivka, they advanced and took a number of villages. And as of right now, they are fighting in Tomaniki, Orlivka, and Berdichi. Now, personally for me, I think the Russians are going to take all of these, literally all of these, and then they will advance to this reservoir here, and Umaninsky, or Umensky, sorry if I pronounced it wrong, I don't speak Russian or Ukrainian, and I also predict that the Russians are also going to advance up north here too, to Solo Vyove, Novo Bakhmut Ivka, and this little place here, which apparently is on a very hilly area. It's very hilly. I think the Russians are going to go for this place next. They're going to go up north. I also think they might stop here in Novoselivka, Persia. But yeah, I predict the Russians are going to continue to advance all the way on this railway line as far as they can until they reach their ultimate objective. Pokrovsk. I'm still trying to correctly pronounce it. I am so sorry if I got it wrong. But if they were to take this city, they are literally at the gates of Dnipropetrovsk. Literally right there. But they got to get through all of this, and it's not going to be easy. I mean, have you guys not looked up on Google, like, how many fortifications the Ukrainians have in this area? A lot. But I do predict, in the short term, these two villages will fall to the Russians. In fact, Pervomaisky is already falling to Russia. And I'm also predicting Italove will also fall to Russia. Karlivka will also fall to Russia. And I guess then they'll stop there for a while, and then they'll use that momentum to go towards Krasnogorivka. And Russians have been trying to advance into the town, but they haven't been able to do so, at least too much, but they're trying. Russians are also advancing in Horivka, and they've also been doing quite well in Novomkhalivka. And if they were to take this village, then they're just a little step closer to the main road that goes to Uglidar, also known as Vulidar. But yeah. And then you have the situation on the Surovikin line within Zaporozhye Oblast. Robotone is tightly contested right now with a good chunk of the village under Russian control, and the Ukrainians literally got basically pushed out of the Surovikin line. So the Russians have literally reclaimed areas that they lost during the summer counteroffensive, though not completely just yet. I think they're going to advance up here, and then they'll use it as a springboard to attack Orikhiv. But I don't know what their long-term plans are. But getting back to this literal, joke of an offensive, people. Seriously. This has to scream desperation. The United States has not aided the armed forces of Ukraine in any way, through Congress since literally, late 2023, okay? Basically near Christmas. That was the last time the Ukrainians got any sort of aid from the United States. And even though the Democrats and the establishment Republicans are trying their hardest, that $95 billion aid package to Ukraine and Israel is so far not getting through Mike Johnson. He's refusing to pass the bill, and he's demanding more about the border, even though I personally think it's an excuse to stop the Ukraine aid and also to boost Donald Trump's chances of winning the presidency again. But here's the thing, people, okay? This operation screams desperation. Something is terribly wrong in Kiev. Something is terribly wrong over there. The fact that Zelensky would greenlit this offensive into Russia, it tells you the man's in trouble. He is in absolute triple trouble. And not only did the operation fail, it got laughed at by the Russian, people on Telegram. That's how much of a joke this is. I mean, even some pro-Ukrainian, observers were all baffled by this operation, too. It literally made no sense. It was the stupidest thing they could ever possibly do. And now, all you're going to do by doing that is provoking a Russian response. Now, obviously, the Russians may realistically just respond with big missiles and such, like FABs. I don't know, more suicide drones, etc. But the fact of the matter is, the more incursions the Ukrainians do on the Russian border, the more likely it is that we're going to see the Russians do a little offensive themselves on Kharkiv or Kharkov. And I'm expecting it to be in this area here. And maybe here. Literally, by doing these incursions, Ukrainians are making Chernigov, Sumy, and Kharkiv future targets of a Russian offensive in the future. Now, Russians were there in the past in 2022, but they got kicked out. But because of the recent bullshit that is going on their borders, the Russians may have no choice but to go back. In fact, I am very confident, I am very positive that the Russians are going to go back to Chernigov, Sumy, and Kharkiv. I believe it is absolutely in the cards, on the menu, for them to go back. And the more these attacks continue on the border, the Russians may just be like, okay, you left us with no choice. And then they return back to these provinces, unleashing a hell on earth, the likes of which that hasn't been seen since early 2022. Now, personally, I think the Russians will launch an offensive in Ukraine, a big one, sometime this summer. That's my prediction. They're going to do something this summer when the ground is dry, when there's no more mud to worry about. I mean, it's quite obvious when they're going to probably do it, and they may even do it as early maybe as after this election, but I doubt it. But I do think they have something in the cards this summer, and it wouldn't shock me if it was in these three provinces. But also, keep an eye on the Donbas and Zaporozhye too. I'm hearing rumors that they could launch an offensive in these areas too, but for now, we don't know. They could launch an offensive on Kupiansk as well in the future to basically retake this whole area from the Ukrainians, but for now, though, I think the big offensive this year is going to be, it has to be Chernigov and Sumy. It has to be Chernigov and Sumy. If it's not there, then it's probably somewhere in Kharkiv. So yeah. Literally, the most idiotic thing that they could do is make Russia even more angrier. And by crossing to the border and terrorizing these villages here with literal neo-Nazis, they're just asking to get invaded again on these areas here and to kick them out of the left bank Ukraine. Well, yeah. So yeah, folks, that's going to do it for today's video. So tell me in the comment section below what you think of Ukraine's incursion into Russia. Do you think it was a smart thing of them to do, or do you think it was the dumbest thing that they could have literally possibly done? Because personally, I think it was literally the stupidest thing that they could do, and all they're going to do is provoke a very vicious Russian response in the future. So yeah. I hope all of you have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one. Peace out.